a moment, we'll be welcoming Rachel Kitonyo, who is a fellow trustee to interview His Excellency the Governor. But because introducing the Governor is beyond my pay grade, I'm actually going to introduce someone who will introduce him. And the person who is going to introduce the Governor is Simon Bevy, who is and should be known to all of us. If I say when I grow up, I'd like to be like him, he'll be offended because I'm too old. But for you interns, I think this is the person you want to grow up and become. He is, where do we start? He's a pastor, he is a lawyer, he is a writer, he is a media commentator, he is a politician. Some of you will know that he's associated with Transform Nations, but also Man Enough ministry and program that is helping many men in this country. He is one of the founders of Nairobi Chapel and also the Mavuno Church. And you might wonder the connection with the Governor. He is a board member of the Makueni County Public Service Board. And so I think he is more worthy of introducing His Excellency the Governor. So Simon Bevy, over to you.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. Thank you, Dr. Joshua, very kind words there. And today is not my day. It's a privilege to be here. Let me just say I'm very encouraged to see younger people passionate about the nation. I think this is the future. I feel encouraged, and I know that our generation is going to be better because of this. Also good to see all the bishops and leaders who are here. It's a great privilege to be here. I just want to introduce His Excellency the Governor. He is my appointing authority in that way. So in some way, he is my boss, even though the County Public Service Board is independent, but we work very closely with him. And I'll just say a few things. The good governor is very simple usually. And I don't want to say too many things. I think you already know a lot about him, but I would say he's a Nehemiah. He has been building the walls in Makueni, and he has made Makueni one of the proudest counties. Wherever I go to many places and I say I come from Makueni, the first thing is your governor the professor? And I always say that with a lot of joy because of many fasts and other sifa tumekuwa nazo as a county, and we attribute that to our leader. He's a professor of law. He taught me in the when I was doing my law degree. He taught me constitutionalism, and we got to respect him a lot then. He is also a man of faith. We have prayed together. I've listened to him. In fact, when he joined in, he was asking me, are we not starting with prayer? And I said, there had been a prayer and we are going to pray again. But he's a man who loves God and wants to do the best. I would say only three things would describe him. I was thinking of many characteristics that I would use to describe him, but I would use three as I've watched him do his work in Makueni. Number one is character. He's a man who wants to do the right thing, and he's committed to that. Number two is competence, that he has been able to use his skills and leadership to mobilize a county and the staff thereof to accomplish a lot. So he's a man of competence. And lastly, he's a man of compassion. He cares for the poor. He has talked to us many times about considering those who are disadvantaged. He visits them and sits with them in small places and eats, what they are eating. He's a man of compassion. He stands tall in the way that he reaches out very low to lift up those who are disadvantaged. And so I look up to him. I am praying and looking forward to, with others, being able to fill his big shoes in Makueni County. And it's a great privilege to have His Excellency the Professor. He's an author of many books. a man that I have grown to admire. So let me not say too much so that because I know he needs to be running at some point for a funeral. Let me just say, welcome, Professor. We are very glad, Your Excellency, that you have come. So karibu and welcome. We're glad to have you here.
Over to Rachel.
Good morning, everybody. And good morning, my professor.
Good morning.
Just like Simon Davy, Honorable Professor Kivutha Kibwana lectured me at University of Nairobi. He lectured me in jurisprudence. And I don't know if he remembers this. I was a student leader at the time, so I used to miss some classes. And one time he bumped into me in the parking lot and asked me why I missed the last class. And I made sure never to miss any others. I also don't know whether he remembers, but he supervised my dissertation. And Prof, you actually gave me an A that helped me to get my second upper, and I have never forgotten. Over to the questions. The first one is, tell us a bit about yourself and your faith journey.
Good morning, everybody. I am really very happy to be in this space. I think listening to the interns whom Francis was interviewing, I was really very impressed because these are very focused people. It was said of them that they have fine minds, but I also think fine hearts. And I think this particular program is a very critical one. And if programs which are also similar were to somehow find a way of working together so that we can raise a generation of young people who are God-fearing, who want to do the right things, who want to take, necessary risks, like staying in a cell, because you don't want to pay any corruption until the police people say you are crazy. I really, I was very happy to listen to this and to say that in any way, if these young people, come together so that they can voice these concerns and we invest in them and so on, that would be very good. So Sharon and Kivutha really made me feel very proud. I am very old. Sometimes when I tell people that I went to primary school 1960, they think I'm ancient. That's when I went, to school. It was an AIM school. So we really started in terms of going to Sunday school, going to devotions, in that school and so on, because there was also a church there in the same school, because that's how long ago, how schools and churches and dispensaries would be near each other, just as we are transiting from colonialism. Later, my parents were in ABC, and many times you follow, your parents, and I was baptized in 1964, and therefore began to grow in faith through also secondary school in Machako School. When I was in university, sometimes we become cheeky and the faith dwindles because at that time, we were following James Ngugi and dropping our Christian names and all that. But later, particularly as we worked towards the country's return to multipartyism, and we worked with faith leaders, we worked with Akina Gitari, Akina Njoya, Ireri, Mutava Musimi, Okulu, and we worked with all those luminaries, Christian luminaries. We actually again saw that without God, these changes that we seek cannot be possible. And indeed, the journey of constitution making, many Kenyans do not know there was significant contribution from the religious sector, the Christian sector, and also Muslims and Hindus, but particularly the Christians, when the Christian leaders spoke truth to power, and it was a very good moment. And even as I went through, my career as a teacher, as a member of parliament, as a civil society activist and pro-democracy leader, and a minister, I saw that really the basis of anything that I'll do, any success that will come about, any contribution must be rooted in my faith. And I remember asking President Kibaki, when I was advisor to him, asking him, I want to go to Bible school. And he was astounded. He was asking, you have many degrees and law degrees, and why do you want to go to Bible school? And I said, I really want to understand my faith deeply so that I can be a pastor, a better pastor at home, in the community. And even because by that time I told him I want to become a governor, I want also to use the county as a pulpit, so that not just a question of being a secular leader, but I can also be a spiritual leader in the marketplace, which is the county. And therefore, I went to Next Africa International University today, and for about 3.5 years, I was able to do a master's degree in theology, and it was harder than even the law degrees that I had done. And I really, thank God that He gave me that opportunity. And again, the opportunity at Makueni, where I'm both a governor, and I think, although not an ordained pastor, I also pastor Makueni County.
Thank you very much, Professor. You've had a very varied career, as you've described, moving through all those different professions. What has motivated you, and what has given you the convictions that you hold?
I think I must say, increasingly, it is my faith, because even when there are very difficult challenges, and my life has been strewn with those challenges, I know that I'll be victorious. I know that if I rely on God, I cannot go wrong. It is not possible. And whatever problems there are, I know I am, in a very firm place. And I don't take this for granted, because I know it is real. Of course, as I think one of the speakers said before, it is hard to be a genuine Bible-living Christian, particularly in these days, and particularly in politics, even in business, because many people want to do wrong and they're inviting you to do wrong. But for me, that's my reference point, and it is a reference point that doesn't disappoint me. And at some point, people interest you in some of the things that they believe you should do, like corruption and all that. But after some point, they realize that that's not you. You are not interested, and they come to know why not, and they kind of leave you alone. Although I don't believe in like separating myself from people I think don't do well or are corrupt and so on, because you have to be there. Because if we are going to change our country, we must be, where that change is necessary, where the people need to be changed are necessary. So that's really one of my firm motivations. And just like Kivutha told us, the 2 portions of scripture that were transformative in his life. For me, also the question of the first Samuel chapter 12, among, of course, many other portions of scripture, is very important, because this is Samuel at the end of his career when Saul is being inaugurated. And he comes before Israel and he says, did I take anybody's ox or donkey? Did I cheat anybody? Did I oppress anybody? Did anybody bribe me so that I could turn a blind eye to any judging? Let me be told, I will restore. And all these people say, no, his sons are there, and the king is there, the Lord is in their midst. So I said to myself, that's what I want to do at the end of my career, to stand and then ask, even as I transit from Makueni 2022, I want to ask the people, did I, do any wrong thing? And for the people to be able to tell me, whether that happened or not. And I believe they are likely to tell me that you didn't cheat us, you didn't oppress us, you didn't judge, wrongly. So that is my principal motivation, but also motivation from my study of the law, because the law requires you to do right, to follow it. So if I study law, if I teach law, if now in the county I'm part of passing laws and then I disobey them, then that is not correct. And I have really tried, to follow the law as much as I can. Then family. I'm very fortunate. My wife, we have 4 children together, 5 grandchildren, but they hold me accountable, because if I have any investment, or if I buy something, or if they see me with some money, they will ask me, where did you get it from? And I must explain. If I don't explain, then it would be, they will tell me, no, this is not, you're changing, and we don't want you to change. So again, I find I find comfort in that family environment, because they hold me accountable. And of course, as a practicing Christian, I have friends who are accountability partners, so that we hold each other accountable, and we make sure that people don't go beyond the known boundaries for Christians.
Maybe let me ask, in your long career, is there anything that, if now that you look back, you wish you would have done differently?
Many things. They have to be, there are many things. One of the things that I if I can start this way, one of the things that I really like teaching for 25 years. I was really very, very proud that I taught for 25 years, and I was a friend to my students. It was not possible for me to molest the female students, and for those 25 years, because I said I'm their custodian, I'm a trustee. And I was really a friend to young people, and I mentored them, I encouraged them. That I liked a lot, because that has been my primary professional engagement. There was a period in my life when I also took to the bottle, and that was not really a good experience. We got frustrated, or so we thought, and we got involved in some drinking, and it was time. It's not a good thing. Whatever problems one has, and of course, in terms of our faith, it's not something that we are encouraged to do, and Paul talks a lot about it. That, and I was, I go to the point when I say to myself, this is not something that I want to continue doing, and I quit that. I also like the fact that even when things are very hard, like I remember once at the university, we were told we must belong to KANU. And those days, I didn't want to belong to KANU. We were saying that KANU is denying us freedom. And I was told that we were going to be, we are going to lose our jobs if we didn't become life members of KANU. And even the money for paying would be taken away from our salaries. I said, it's okay. I don't mind. Let me lose my job. So I think like Sharon said, and like I think people in that program, the young people in that program, when you want change, many people resist it. And you have to, take, a firm ground and really say that this is non-negotiable. And even in private life, because even for all those young people, when you aspire to change in terms of the secular realm, in terms of the public sector and all that, all those ideas that we have about change there in that space cannot be actualized if within our own personal lives, that change is not there, that commitment to Christ, that commitment to Christian living. That is primary. So I think for all of us, and I'm talking directly to those young people, we must watch our private space, because sometimes we think that people don't know some of the things that we do, and those things impact on whatever else that we want to do. You said that Nyamweya was in that space, and I remember because I worked with her, she was introducing very radical ideas about performance management in that sector, and some people would just who didn't want to follow that would say that she's not doing good things and all that kind of stuff. But she was firm until even at some point, she had to leave that particular position. So I think for you to come together, many of you, yes, you must change personally, change this commitment to change as a person, but also there is commitment as a group, because the more you are in that program, in other programs, in the Christian sector and in other sectors, you must create the critical mass. And I think sometimes, of course, radicalism is good, but there are times that you can achieve a lot by building consensus and talking to people and convincing them that the ideas that you want, that a country without corruption, a country without negative ethnicity, a country without all those things is a better country. A country that is God-fearing is a better country. And it's a hard, but it is doable. And as I grow older and I see young people who have that commitment, particularly when they organize themselves, so that they don't wait to be organized, by the state or to be organized by counties or whoever, you begin to really reach out to each other and to get which are these ideas that are going to be transformative. When they are implemented, they are going to change our country. And Kenya is a great country, and I believe that in our region, the East African region, and on the continent, our time is still to come.
In your long career, I know you've achieved many things, but is there one thing that you feel I really made a difference? I made an impact here.
Yes, I think in terms of my involvement with constitution making in the country, in the 90s, I was chair of or the spokesperson of the pro-democracy movement, where Mzee Kibaki, Michuki, Raila, all those people who wanted change, they were there, and I was fortunate to lead that. So that at some point, they were even suggesting in 1997 that I should become a compromise presidential candidate. But I said my interest was to get the constitution first of all. So I think I did contribute quite a bit in that journey, even given my knowledge of constitutional law, and also given my desire to be part and parcel of that journey. I think more recently in the county, in Makueni County, if I can just give those two examples, this idea of you can have a people's government, apart from the national government, the county government, you can have a government where the people are organized from village up to the county, where they elect their own leadership, where they look at their projects, so that any project, as a project management committee, they supervise it. You can't get paid merely by the professionals or the technical people or the county administration saying so. The people themselves also have to approve, and they sign that the project is complete, they are happy, it will benefit them. And having elected development committees and forums from the village, from something we call a cluster, several villages together. And even in some instances, as Mbevi, who very generously introduced me, and it's a man I really love because of his love for God and his work among young people. So that even those committees will be able to discuss about certain people want to be employed, because the County Public Service Board sometimes looks at the papers, and you have very good papers. For some people who will work with the communities directly, we take their names to the communities, and the communities tell us this guy, doesn't go to church, and this guy, was found doing some wrong things. So we are doing that kind of innovative way of governance. In the county also, we have decided to have open contracting, so that whatever information that there is about people who are looking for jobs in Makueni is out there. And if you work here, then you know that if you do a wrong thing, you can't hide it. It will be public to everybody, not just to the authorities. And those are some of the things that, like that, people's government, and then my role in constitution making, and it's a sequel. And of course, here in our structures, we have representation from the religious sector. We work very closely with them because we believe, although section, I think Article 8 of the Constitution says there is no state religion, but we believe that the values, some of the critical values to changing what we want to change, are to be found in our faith, and therefore it's important for it to be expressed even within governance in our county, and we hope with time in our country.
Okay, I would like to open the floor to 2 or 3 questions from interns. If you would like to speak, you could either put up your hand, or you could just open your mic and speak. So I open the floor.
I want to begin by asking a question, if I may.
Go ahead.
Bishop Dr. Kibwana is my name. I'm one of the bishops of Deliverance Church, working with Bishop Mark Kariuki, Bishop Masinde, and others. Now, I want to ask, the first time I really paid attention to Professor Kibwana as governor is his first term as governor. And I've always wanted to ask him, we have been in some forums together, but I've never had a question to ask him how he was able to withstand the push by MCAs about money they wanted. And because he could not approve it, they threatened to impeach him. And I think it will be a very great thing for people to know how he was able to withstand that, because it can motivate others to know you do not have to compromise your standards and values for convenience. Thanks.
I think the part of the problem is like part of the solution was when really, like these young people that we are in conversation with, when you say, what are my values? And over time, how have those values developed? Like the question that Rachel asked me earlier. And you're steadfast. And if those values change, they're changing for the better. So when from working civil society, because I remember even there was a time that the NGO we were working in, Center for Law and Research International, was proscribed by the government. And the donors believed that we were doing a good job. And they said, we can still give you money and you can put it in your own personal account. We don't mind. We think you will account properly. And sometimes our own money with my spouse would get finished, but the donor money would be there. And we would say, this is donor money, we can't touch it. So when you develop values like that, and to know that in matters of public money is public money. So when we came to Makueni, it was not a lot of money as such, but the MCA wanted from 5 billion, they wanted 1 billion to themselves. And there were about slightly over 40, and about 60 workers, so 100 of them. And then the rest of us, because we were about 1 million, would get 4, and they would have 1 billion. And I just told them that it can't work this way. We came here to help the people. We didn't come here in Kenyan parlance to eat. And they told me, you must be joking. People are eating in Nairobi. We must eat from here. This money has come home. And I told them, no way. So what I did was to now tell the people, actually, I'm not able to be your governor, because these leaders are asking us that I should give them, we should concede most of the money to them. And I cannot do that in good conscience. And because we had begun to work with the people, we had told them that Article 1 of the Constitution says you are sovereign. And of course, there is the higher sovereignty of God. So I introduced this to them, and I told them that we have to stop these people together, because if we don't, then I will have to leave this job, because I have no alternative. I cannot preside over a graft situation. And the people came up and they, collected signatures. They took them to the office of president. They wanted the county dissolved, and we were all going to lose our jobs and have to ask for to be re-elected. And we went through that. There was a commission by Nyaoga appointed, and the commission told the president that dissolve this county government. But because the constitution allows, the president said, if I dissolve it, this will happen in many other counties. And because we are beginning devolution, this might not be the right thing. So really, it was explaining to the people that they must be the protector of their resources. And they agreed, and they came out and they fought hard. And as a result, when we came to the 2017 election, only one of the MCAs came back from the 30. All the others did not come back. And today, many of our MCAs know that we must protect the resources of our people. But it's taking those hard decisions. And the more there are people who want to take those hard decisions, the more there are the young people who are critical mass, who want better for their country, for their counties, for their regions, for their country. Then it will work. And that's why I keep on emphasizing that it is not just to be trained so that you can put it in your CV that I was in this program. It is what do you do afterwards, and how do you get other people with you, and how do you make a movement of young people throughout the country, and do it in such a way that you are persuasive. It's not just a question of saying, we want to get these guys out of town, and they are dynasties and they are corrupt, and I don't know the others are what, but to really persuade and work hard and be non-compromising, so that you don't do wrong things, and that will take us far. So that is my story. We are a family which is a simple family, so we don't need a lot of things. So we don't have to take people's money which belongs to the public.
Okay, I will open up for 2 more questions, one from Clarion and then from Boniface. So Clarion and Boniface, you'll ask them one after the other, and then Professor will answer and we'll end his interview. Clarion, please.
Okay, thanks, Rachel, for the opportunity. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Go ahead. Go ahead, Clarion.
Okay, so my question to Prof. Yes, my question to Prof is, well, I know that Prof has a heart for young people, and especially the emerging leaders. And so, Prof, with your experience in leadership, both in politics and in public service, I'd wish you tell us, one, what you don't like in the current generation of leaders, and 2 is, what are the 3 things you'd wish you wish or expect from the next generation of leaders? Yeah. So by saying next generation of leaders, I mean the leaders 10 years from now. Yeah.
Okay, Boniface,
Thank you.
please.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, His Excellency Governor, for such sharing. So mine is more very personal. You talked about personal values, establishing your personal values at a personal level and developing them. So giving a chance to go meet yourself back in 1980, that is generally the younger version of you. What would you tell him if you met him? Thank you.
Okay. I think we need to love our country. And if we do, the things like for us to get involved in, corruption, when we are in charge of, public resources, and in many ways, because corruption is not, it's not just a question of, conniving with the contractors to be able to take money from the county or from the national government. But even sometimes when you look at like the, us leaders, how much money we are paid, if you compare that with the salaries of people who have menial jobs, small jobs, and so on, you discover that it's really astounding. Like I think in the papers it was said that MPs will be like earning 3.7 per month million, and so on and so forth. So you can have also institutionalized corruption, and if we free ourselves, we significantly free ourselves from corruption of all forms, we will have lots of resources to take our country forward. The other thing is work ethic. People in the public sector not wanting to really work, so that sometimes there's a few people who have the burden of doing most of the things. And I think, again, even young people, that idea of whatever you do, you really need to commit to working as hard as you can and to be truthful and all that. Then this idea of negative ethnicity, dividing, we divide our people, and we say we are this group and that group and so on. I'm not saying that in politics. I also don't go to the side of we come from Southeastern and Lower Eastern and stuff like that. But I think that we need, and young people are better at doing it, to say that we are Kenyans and we are Eastern Africans and we are Africans. And I think those things may be hard, but young people will be able to get us there, the next generation. And the fact of even in private sector, really, working hard there, not just thinking that it's when you work with government and you get, you get a tender, you become a tenderpreneur, but doing work that is productive. I think that will be important. And for the next generation too, it is a question of how do the people who want to do good for their country come together? How do they establish those values from personal level to collective values? And this is what happened in the Asian countries, the tigers. They came up and they said that we will get our countries, our people out of poverty, and this is what we are going to do. And there is a commitment. And if you deviate, then you are kind of an enemy of the people. So Esabika and I think it was GIPro program and all those programs, they're a good start. And I am happy, Kenya School of Government, other government institutions, let's give young people a chance so that they can shine, so that they can get our country and our continent to the next level. It is doable, it's hard work, but that is what I would say. That is what I would say. Then in terms of to Clarion, then in terms of the 80s, what would I say if I was looking at myself? 1977, I was when I went to teach, I was 23 when I became a lecturer. And it's really a question of whatever you are doing, total commitment. total commitment. Don't deviate. Don't get into instant gratification. Don't, think that if you are a lady that befriending some high-ranking fellow, with some money and all that will help. This hard work, this respecting yourself, even the issues that I talked about of drinking and so on, respecting yourself, having the right company of people that you are like-minded, that faith issue, so that you know that it's real. It is not something that you're doing because you're doing with other people and you want, it's real. Because it's from that foundation of values that you build on everything. It is on that foundation of work ethic that you build on everything. It is on that foundation of your togetherness, of your collective effort. And I still emphasize that even because in Christianity, Jesus, he was being accused. He was being told, you are, you are in the company of sinners. That Samaritan woman and all those tax collectors and all those people. You are in the company of the wrong people. Those are the people that we must change. Whether they are we think they are politically wrong people, they are socially wrong people, or whatever. And it is changing people bit by bit. If you go into that corporate world, that professional world, how are you impacting your profession? And to be persuasive and not to be on high moral ground to say that I'm better than them, therefore they will pollute me. And I am happy that, Rachel, I could notice that you had not come to a class, even with many students. It meant I really, liked to take care. My class was also a flock, because even when it was very hard during some of those Kano days and so on, when I came to a classroom, I felt peace. It was like when you go to the church, I felt peace, and I would try, to give my best, and you deserved your A. And I'm happy that some of my students have gone ahead to really be critical leaders within our country. Even Kathurima, who was to join later, he was my student, and I'm happy I went to the class with such fine people. And just to encourage you young people out there, what you're going through, make it work for yourselves, make it also multiply it. Go and talk to other people about what you have learned, influence other people in church, everywhere in your profession, and create that critical mass of change agents. As Sharon said, that she wants to be a change agent so that we can change our country.
Thank you so much, Professor Kivutha Kibwana. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it. You know he wants a higher office. Munajua muweke kura wapi. Thank you so much, Professor. And we release you to be able to go to your other business.
Asante.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor and delight for us to have had you, Professor Kivutha Kibwana. I have had you in different forums, and the consistency is something that really keeps challenging us in my generation. I think there's Andy Crouch has written a book called Playing God, Redeeming the Gift of Power. And I think that you really model that, trying to redeem that and show that power can be used for the common good. And really that inspires this generation. Thank you so much. We are delighted. What I'll do is that because we know you are leaving shortly, we would have loved to have many more questions, but we know we'll create more opportunities for your interaction with these young people. Before you go, we would like to ask Bishop Geoffrey Njuguna on our behalf to just make a prayer for you, just to thank God for what you're doing and your aspirations. You truly have many admirers on this platform, and so I would want to begin that journey with prayer from us. So.
Okay, let's pray together. Our Father and our God, we thank you because you are God of all grace, God of all wisdom. We are so grateful that we could have a forum with His Excellency, Governor of Makueni, Kivutha Kibwana. Thank you for the testimony he has about transforming Makueni, which is attested by so many people, even some of us who have traveled there in our other assignments as bishops. And what we are praying now is that you will guide the professor and give him favor and connect him to like-minded people so that he can be able to ascend to a higher place of authority, that what has happened in Makueni can happen across the country. Jehovah God, we are asking that you help us, especially the young people and all of us in this forum, to emphasize on value-based leadership as a determination of where we put our votes. And therefore, dear Father, we pray that you guide your servant. Thank you for the testimony he has, and he has made himself vulnerable to us about his journey since beginning to teach at the age of 23 and where he is today. And he has gone through various situations, but you have watched over him. We ask a blessing upon him, upon his wife, upon the entire family. And dear Father, even in the transition, as he finishes the term, his second term next year, we are praying that he will be able to ascend to a place of influence, to a place of authority that you will prepare for him, and that you will level every ground, you will do whatever needs to happen so that Kenya can have a leader that is godly, a leader that will not punish or do anything that hurts the mission of the church. That is our prayer. Bless him as he goes to where he goes and give him greater influence as he continues in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.